I felt like I hired all the right people, literally built the system myself, wrote it down, implemented it, and showed up every single day, just like you would expect me to show up as the leader. And yet somehow, the results were nowhere where I wanted them to be. I looked around, I remember this, and I thought to myself, like, how is my team literally checked out? Why is growth flattened? I don't understand. I am working harder than ever, and I feel like nothing is moving. I'm telling you, does that sound at least a little familiar? Because for me, it was really familiar. And I'll bet if you go back in your career, your business, whatever it is that we apply that to, you probably had a moment like that in your past. And if you didn't, you're lucky, but trust me, you're gonna feel something like that in the future, so we might as well get the mindset ready today. Let me help you with this. Before you hire again, just stop. Before you restructure, before we pivot our strategy and go through all these different steps, trust me, I've done it before, and stop all of that. I wanna show you something that most builders never get to see, and it really does explain, for me, it did at the time, looking back, and I think it can do this for you. It can explain why this keeps happening and why we need to get in control of what's changing. Look, at the end of the day, it starts with me. And in about 90 seconds, I think you're gonna love this, we're gonna walk through and talk through exactly what the diagnosis, how we change everything, because it changed for me. And once you see it, here's what's really cool. You're not gonna be able to unsee this. It's gonna be part of like an operating system for how you approach these challenges when you run into them. So let me walk you through how this plays out, because I see it in the same way. I literally see it every time we onboard a new leader. Each time we bring somebody into one of our masterclass programs, we start with this framework because it's so pivotal to what your future is gonna look like. And there's 3 big categories. I rattle these off all the time that we always misdiagnose. I misdiagnose, and I'm guessing you might be too, that's holding you back. So here's the first problem that we run into in a misdiagnosis. We keep bringing in new people thinking it's gonna change the outcome. The people and the problems stay the same, guys. It's different faces, I get that, but it's the same dynamic. The second misdiagnosis that doesn't get the results that we always want is we right away go to blaming a systems problem. I obviously built the system and the process. It worked for me. I documented everything. So clearly the people aren't following what I asked them to follow. And here's the thing about a systems problem, a true systems problem. People work a system at the level of the leader enforcing it. It's not a systems problem. And the third, I think, is subtle and hard to always see, but it's always sometimes under the current, and that's a motivation problem. We think that if we throw some team days in, I give them an extra vacation day, throw some cash on the table, we do some incentives, the culture is always going to improve. It does, temporarily, and 3 weeks later, everybody's back to where they were. Look, at the end of the day, I think behaviors and culture are contagious, but it has to start at the top. You can't throw money at the problem like that. And here's what very few people, I think, tell you running a business. The team is a mirror, but the team is my mirror. The way they perform really is a reflection of how I lead them, my presence. And the culture within that team that we talked about is a reflection of how I showed up as a leader. And those results that, quite frankly, seem so elusive that I'm not getting are a downstream result that my presence is not where it needs to be as the true leader. It's not your strategy, it's not your systems. I actually don't even think it's your presence. I think most of the time a builder, a true builder of a resume, a builder of a career, a builder of a business and a franchise, I spend years trying to fix that reflection instead of actually looking at what's producing that reflection. So let's dig into that a little bit. So let me pause for a second and let me just kind of share this with you. Before you start thinking that this is all your fault, or before I start thinking this is all my fault, let's pause that creep of a thought in your mind. Let's reject it for a moment. And here's what I'm actually saying. This is good news. If all these problems, if those misalignments and those mischaracterizations are all external, which I'm telling you they are, then I'd be at the mercy of everything outside of my control. Every new hire, I'd have no control over. Every market shift, I would blow in that direction. Every change in the economy would wreck my entire business. But on the inverse, if the problem is my presence, then I actually can affect and own the solution. And if I'm the one variable in the business that I have complete control over, 100%, if I can change that variable, everything downstream follows and starts to change. I think the team changes, the culture follows along, the results start flowing in, and that's when it gets really fun to be a business owner and an entrepreneur, when you start seeing that end result. So let's unpack this. What does changing my presence actually look like inside of how do I teach people in our masterclass to get this fundamental down really, really tight? Let me give you 3 things, simple. I see shift almost immediately, and it immediately impacts their overall presence. So here's the first. The quality of conversations has to change. When I show up as a leader with a little bit more clarity, a little bit better intention in my conversations, the meetings are shorter, the meetings are more productive. I find that my team stops hedging their bets. They aren't like carefully saying what they're gonna say and not say. They start actually saying what they're gonna think, because they trust that you're willing to take those thoughts. And by the way, when that happens, we make a heck of a lot more decisions instead of discussing it endlessly, and I love that. Here's the second that I think is really critical, is that the team's initiative and their engagement goes up when my presence improves as a leader. One of the biggest signs of a presence problem is a team that sits down and waits for that leader. Right? They're scared to make a decision because they're waiting on direction. They can't do anything because you have to approve it. The team sits around and does nothing when they're waiting on a leader. When a leader changes their presence and really trusts and engages the team, look, my team start energizing around. They start moving, not because I told them to, but because the energy's changed. And that's a fun place to work. It's great to be around a team that's pushing you in that direction. And here's the third, you can probably tell, dovetails with 1 and 2, is that when my own energy at the end of the day did not hit a ceiling and I didn't find myself exhausted, then I know my presence is starting to change constantly, because I'm no longer carrying everything inside my business. My presence has changed, so the load starts to distribute among the leaders that are now surrounding me. The team starts carrying with me, not for me. Look, I know how to actually do this because we've tested it. And how you identify and how you specifically go through improving your presence, and how do I get past this ceiling that I've created, and what do I do about that? It's actually not that difficult. So we actually I looked back over the years, tried, tested, and implemented, and said, look, this really is a framework. It's exactly a framework with 5 stages. It's one process. It's an operating system you can really adopt. And I hate personality assessments. I can't stand style quizzes. I think it's insane that people go through diagnostics and all these different things. This is a framework to help you have precision in how you're blocking out distractions, and you make progress every single day around one thing, your presence. We call this, within my little team here, the Presence Leadership Framework. It's 5 A's, really easy to remember, and I've made it available for free. We train it from day 1 with our group and our team. It's part of our masterclass. You've got a link in the description below. Download it, but here's my kind of ask. Be the kind of group with me here, shoulder to shoulder, that we engage today. It will show you exactly where the ceiling is, and it will give you your first couple steps to start moving forward. It is a little work. It does require you to take a next step, but that's the kind of leadership I like to be surrounded with. Let's go, let's lean into it, have some fun finding out what the Presence Leadership Framework can do for you. I think it's gonna be a great day.